In this demonstration, we'll learn how to create lip syncing by leveraging the graphic symbol as well as the frame picker. I've got a finished version right here. I'll just do a test movie and let you see what it's supposed to look like when we're done.
Yep. I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Okay, and I'll just close that up. So just some basics on lip syncing. You will be provided with the graphics for this, and I also have a mouth alphabet, if you will, with the sounds associated with the different mouth shapes. And I've just left that off the stage. I actually put it on here, but it's technically off the screen area so that I can quickly refer to that. Okay. Let me just show you the files that you're going to get with this as well. There is a zipped file that you'll download off my website. So you will get the MP3. It's a quote from Ferris Bueller. A picture of Marilyn Monroe. Now, if you actually want to go and create your own images, by all means, go for it. If I'll show you just very quickly here in Photoshop, I downloaded a picture of Marilyn and basically just took out the mouth area and replaced it with the cartoon mouth that you're seeing in the example here. So we'll just go back to Animate. And inside of my library, again, all of these graphics were imported, and so on, as well as the audio. And you can see here where's my library. It's down here somewhere. Up here. And you may have to resize some of these things. I believe you will have to resize the picture of Marilyn if you're going to work with the default Animate settings, which is what I've done here. Okay, so once again, just place the alphabet off the stage so you can refer to that, so you don't have to keep opening and closing it, unless you've done this many times and you know all the sounds. And on my timeline, I've got 4 basic layers. I've got the face, again with the picture in the background. One layer where most of the action takes place, which is the layer that contains the graphic symbol. And you can see down here that the trick is basically to keyframe it and replace the picture with the sound that you hear. So up here just above that layer, I'll go back to frame 1 here, is the audio on that layer. And if we go to the properties, what's critical about the audio is that you must set it to stream. So again, set your audio to stream. And then with that, you can actually scrub along and hear it, or hit your enter key and play it, and stop it at will. And again, just kind of zero in. And you may need to refine this. You may need to move your keyframe backwards or forwards a frame or two. So let me just go back here and let's see. Oh yes, one layer for my actions, because I only wanted this to play through once. If you want it to repeat, I guess you can skip the actions layer, but I have a keyframe at the very end with a stop command, very simple stop command in there, so that this only plays through one time. Okay, so that's the basic construction. And if I go through on these keyframes, I'll just show you here. If I move my playhead, you can see the shape has been changed according to the sound that I'm hearing. Now you can see the audio waveform and you can see when there are spikes, so that gives you an idea to clue in. And honestly, you're just going to be scrubbing back and forth and hitting your enter key to start and stop and returning to get it perfect. Okay, so again here, this went in. So I'll show you how this actually works. I'll actually go to a start file, which I have over here. Okay, so I'm going to go to the new file here. I did already import the elements that you can see on the right hand side in the library. And I've also created the 4 basic layers that I'm going to need. So again, my elements are already in place here. You'll just need to import those from my website. They are in a zip file. And the 4 layers are: the bottom layer is called face, second layer is called mouth, the third layer is called audio, and the 4th layer is for my actions. And I think I'll just start by dropping the image of the face in the layer called face. And I know I'll have to resize it, so I'll just go grab that now. And I'll just make it roughly, I'll just go to my free transform tool here and hold my shift key down. Let's make it just a little bit bigger than that. Okay, and let's say about there. And I'm good with that. I'll just save that very quickly. And that's really all I'm going to do on that layer. And now the layer for the mouth, which is going to be ultimately a graphic symbol. I'll drop the first frame of the mouth, and then I'll position it, resize it, and do any modifications I have to do with it right away. So we'll just drag that onto the screen here, and that's obviously too big. So again, I'll just resize that. Locate it where it's roughly going to go, and I want to put a little tilt on it. There's a slight tilt on the head, just ever so slightly there, like that, and maybe just a little bit over there. I'm being very fussy with this because this is going to be the basis for all the other graphics that will be replacing it. Okay, and I'm happy with that, so I will save that as well. Now what I have to do with that graphic is to turn it into a graphic symbol, and then inside of that graphic symbol we will drop all of the other images into the respective frames. And the graphic symbol is very much like a movie clip. It has the same timeline, so we'll just highlight that. We'll do our conversion, modify, convert to symbol, graphic, I'll call it mouth. Okay. And then I'll go into it by double-clicking, as usual. And again, you can see the common timeline with the playhead. And I'm just going to span over 12 frames because I happen to know that there are 12 frames to choose from. So with my Shift key down, I'll just highlight all of these frames and hit F6. And that's a quick way to drop a keyframe in all of those frames. So now I'll go to frame 2, and I'll use my swap method to replace each frame with the next one. We highlight it on the stage. Oh, actually, I should have gone to properties. There we go. Highlighted on the stage. Swap, and this is to be swapped for the next one in the order. And that's the letter L, it looks like. I'll go to the next frame. Highlight, swap. Go to the next one down. So I'll do that as quickly as I can for all of these. This is the fourth one. Number 5 here. It's actually number 6 in my list. There is no number 5. Okay. Number 8. Yep. I'll just go back and double check that. Yeah, that was 7, 8, and then 9 should be here. The next one looks like is 11. A little bit of grunty work. In fact, this is probably the heaviest lifting for the whole exercise, ironically. This is number 12. 2 more to go. And last but not least, the expression for the letter U. Okay, save that. Definitely don't want to have to repeat that. And if I scrub through, you'll see all the different mouth shapes. Oh, you know what? Let me double check. Oh no, that's okay. We're good. So this is a graphic symbol, as you can see up here. I'm going to go back to scene 1. Now, right now we're still all on a single frame. The next step for me is to drop my audio in, and the audio is going to take up as many frames as it needs to play out. Now this audio is about 10 seconds or so, so we're going to need about 240, 250 frames, and with that we need to span all our other frames along to match it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to span it first, take a little risk almost. No, I'll just give it 250 frames. That should be adequate, more than enough for 10 seconds because we're running at 24 frames a second. I'll just drag down here, and again I'll just go F5, and that's a quick way to span all of my layers to that distance. And now I will drop the audio file in frame 1 on the layer called audio. So we do that through the sound panel. Ferris. And what's critical here is that it's set to stream. Okay, it does have to be set to stream. I'm definitely going to save that. And you can see the audio waveform has some bumps in it, which pretty well indicates where the speech is. If I hit enter,
Yep.
you can hear the word yep at the beginning, and you can scrub through
Yep.
to find your sounds as well. So it's going to be a case of hitting enter to start and stop repeatedly, coming back, re-listening, refining a little bit, moving keyframes around to adjust. But basically you're going to just listen.
Yep.
and then find that spot, and then you would keyframe the mouth layer. So I'm not going to keyframe it here. I'm going to show you the trick how this works by using the frame picker. Now if it's not in your panel, mine is, but if it's not in your panel, you'll always find it up here. And I'll just open it from there, and you can see I have it. I'm actually going to pull it out so I can float it. And when I highlight the mouth, because it's a graphic symbol, I can see each of the single frames in this cool device called the frame picker, and it lets me basically choose which frame to have on screen at that point in the timeline. Now there are different parameters. To do what I'm asking to do will require you to set this to single frame. We don't want the video to be playing and looping through this timeline. Obviously, you see, we can do that. We can do a play once as well, as you see as well. And single frame is what I want. In other words, it will just freeze on the associated frame. So right now you can see frame 1 is highlighted. So here for you, or yep, when he says yep, that's a Y sound, so I would highlight it there. And you know what? Let me put the library on the screen. It's going to make this a lot easier. I'm just going to close this for a second. Library is right here. I know this is going to need to be resized. So let's just go out and do that now. I'm just reducing my size. It's, yeah, very large. Free transform tool. Just make that smaller than the height. And just put it a little bit beside. And I'll come back to 100% here. Okay, and spacebar, drag that over, reopen that up, and just push that over here a bit. Okay, so now I can see the alphabet, and I can see the mouth. So if I highlight the mouth, I'm on frame 9, it looks like, where the sound begins, where he goes, yep. I see the Y's associated with the 4th image here, so that would be number 4. And if I click there, and I choose single frame, it switches it. So now if I go back here, you see how that switched. So it's a Y, then a P, which is the closed mouth. So I just move my playhead down. Now the nice thing here too is I don't have to actually create a keyframe. I highlight the element. As soon as I pick a different frame, keyframe gets generated. So let's just pick number 7 here. And as you can see, there is my keyframe, and there is my new graphic. So let's just play that back. It's only 2 frames, but let's just see.
Yep.
Okay, so that works.
Yep.
So that's the trick, and you just go along, find the next sound. I said it before, so we'll go back to where he says I. Now the I is also associated with the first image, so we highlight the image here, click it, there we have it. And then it's S, I believe, so we go to where I can guesstimate where that would be. It's fairly quick, I guess. Or I said, rather. Highlight it, it's number 4. And the D sound is also number 4, so I guess you can let that slide. And let's just see here. Just 2 frames, but...
I said it.
So, I said it. Let's see here.
I said it. I said it. I said it. I said it.
Okay, I'm actually going to move this over.
I said it.
Okay, said it. So the it's about the middle here. And choose that first one. Okay. And basically that's the exercise. You go through and you laboriously scrub around and you try to associate the proper shape to the sound. So I'm going to go back here again.
Yep. I said it.
Okay, and if I go to the finished one, here we go.
Yep. I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. Yep.
Okay. So back to this one. And the only thing really to finish this, assuming I have gone through and done all the association of the frames to the sounds, I just wanted to play through once on the timeline. So I would put a keyframe in the last frame on my actions and just put a simple stop command in there. Okay, like that, and there we go. So that way it only plays once. If you want it to repeat, then don't do that part. Alright, so that's your exercise, is to download these elements, create the appropriate layers, position things on stage, resize as necessary. The big part here is to create the graphic symbol and then use the frame picker and go through and generate keyframes by associating the various mouth shapes to the various sounds. And that is your assignment.